KSAT Investigate showed up to cover a civil court hearing, and a perp walk broke out. A St. Mary's law student now finds herself on the wrong side of the law.
Melanie Hagner arrested twice in 2 weeks, including this time in front of KSAT cameras.
Would you please get out of my face with your defamation?
But happy to see us. In this KSAT Investigates update, Dylan Collier explores whether Hagner used her knowledge of the law to target an ex-boyfriend.
On September 15th, Melanie Hagner arrived at a Bexar County courtroom asking for a judgment of over $3,000, a majority of it to cover garage door repairs. She claims the damage was caused by ex-boyfriend Tony Valdez during a dispute outside her Northwest Side home last November that ended in his felony arrest. Bexar County Sheriff's body-worn camera footage included audio of Hagner reciting portions of the Texas Penal Code while walking a deputy through charges he could possibly file on Valdez.
He pulled you back into that car against your will, correct?
Yes.
Okay, no worries. Hey, that's good. You want to pursue charges?
I had imminent fear of great bodily harm.
As KSAT Investigates in April exposed the massive flaws in BCSO's subsequent kidnapping and burglary case, the Bexar County District Attorney's Office rejected all charges against Valdez. Key accusations made by Hagner were disputed by eyewitnesses and BCSO's own file on the case, leaving Hagner to drag Valdez into civil court.
How much money are you asking for the garage door? I know you're bad at math, but you need to do the math. I'm not doing the math for you.
Despite that tongue lashing, Judge Julie Bray Patterson sided with Hagner, awarding her $1,200 plus court costs. But as Hagner soon learned, sometimes even when you win, you lose. Hagner, just 2 weeks removed from being arrested for violating a protective order filed against her by Valdez, had shown up for court with a pending criminal warrant in an unrelated case. In April, Hagner's boss, the San Antonio attorney, told Bexar County Sheriff's deputies one of her credit cards showed fraudulent activity after she had left her wallet in Hagner's car. The woman told KSAT her card was used to charge items at 6 to 7 stores around San Antonio. According to the arrest affidavit, the attorney was able to get receipts from some stores showing what was purchased. And after firing Hagner, saw those same items on Hagner's front porch while trying to retrieve her work belongings. Hagner is scheduled to be arraigned Thursday. She is presumed innocent of the charges until proven guilty.
I just need someone to listen to me.
Records uncovered by KSAT show Hagner is being investigated by San Antonio police for using Valdez's SUV without his permission for more than 7 months. Valdez also reported Hagner to SAPD in late August after discovering a majority of the items in his storage unit had been cleared out. Both investigations are ongoing, and Hagner has not been criminally charged in either incident.
People with legal knowledge have a lot of power.
Joe Holscher is Valdez's attorney.
It terrifies me that she might become a lawyer and have a license and the authority that comes with it, because she is absolutely misusing the law.
For KSAT Investigates, I'm Dylan Collier.
A family attorney who also previously employed Hagner as a clerk told KSAT earlier this year that she fired Hagner after a charge on a client's credit card was traced back to Hagner. A St. Mary's spokeswoman confirmed that Hagner is still enrolled in its School of Law, but declined to release any additional information. The attorney in Hagner's violation of a protective order case was recently given permission to withdraw as counsel. She told the court in a motion that Hagner persisted in a course of action involving the attorney's services that the attorney reasonably believes to be criminal or fraudulent. We'll be right back.
And now to the latest on former President Donald Trump's civil fraud trial in a Manhattan courtroom where he appeared in person for the second day in a row.
The New York Attorney General brought those charges, alleging that he and his eldest sons inflated the net worth of the Trump Organization's assets by as much as $2.2 billion. ABC's Rena Roy with the latest.
Witnesses are taking the stand on the second day of the civil fraud trial against former President Trump, who was once again in court to listen in.
This case should be dismissed. This is not a case.
Trump telling the press over and over that he's done nothing wrong and blasting New York Attorney General Letitia James, who's leading this investigation.
She ran on the basis I will get Trump without knowing anything about me.
James wants him, his eldest sons, and the Trump Organization to pay a penalty of at least $250 million and wants Trump banned from doing business in the state of New York.
Donald Trump and the other defendants have committed persistent and repeated fraud.
The judge has already agreed with her, ruling that the Trumps engaged in fraud by inflating the value of their real estate properties so they could obtain loans and insurance on more favorable terms. State attorneys conducting a direct examination of Donald Bender, an accountant for Mazars, who prepared financial statements on Trump's properties. He says Trump's company did not always follow the rules. Trump's defense team also getting their chance to question him. His attorneys have argued real estate values, even square footage, are subjective, and the Trump properties are Mona Lisa properties, suggesting they're priceless. This trial will determine how much Trump and his company will pay in damages and penalties. Prosecutors say they plan on calling Trump as their final witness. Trump telling reporters he thinks it's going to go very well. Rena Broy, ABC News, New York.
The manufacturers of the 10 initial drugs chosen for Medicare's price negotiation program have agreed to participate. Biden administration officials made the announcement today. The drug makers include Bristol Myers Squibb, Merck, Johnson & Johnson's Janssen division, Novo Nordisk, and AstraZeneca, among others. They will now spend months in talks with the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services to determine a maximum fair price for their products. Those prices will then take effect in 2026.
The number of available jobs in the United States unexpectedly grew in August. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, there were an estimated 9.6 million open jobs. This growth bucks a 3-month decline and shows the continued strength of the labor market. Some of the biggest jumps in postings were in professional and business services, finance, and non-durable goods, manufacturing. Meanwhile, the number of new hires ticked up slightly from July, as did the number of workers who quit their jobs. Layoffs held steady.
The pandemic-era pause on federal student loan payments officially ended on Sunday, and now millions of Americans have another monthly bill to budget for.
How can borrowers best navigate those payments in uncertain economic times? And what could the restart mean for the overall economy? Karen Kafa in Washington with the latest.
It's October, which means it's time to start making federal student loan payments again after a more than 3-year reprieve due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Betsy Mayotte of the Institute for Student Loan Advisors says the transition could be challenging for some borrowers.
There's been a lot of changes since the pause started. Things like housing and lettuce are a lot more expensive than they were pre-COVID.
Mayotte recommends borrowers use the loan simulator tool at studentaid.gov to determine which repayment option is best for them. And remember, the Biden administration has instituted an on-ramp plan, a grace period on missed payments through September 2024.
Normally with federal student loans, if you're 90 days delinquent or more, it starts getting reported negatively to the credit bureaus. That's not going to happen during these 12 months.
Interest, however, will accrue. Beyond the on-ramp window, Mayotte says to make plans now to avoid default, which happens if payments are not made for 270 days or about 9 months.
It will have a significant negative impact on your credit report, which can affect other things like buying a house, the interest rates on your credit cards, a car loan, and so on. So default really should be avoided at all costs.
Borrowers in default on federal student loans could also see their federal tax refund or even a portion of their paycheck withheld. In Washington, I'm Karen Kafa.
A lot of people waiting for the weekend just because it's the weekend, but we got a nice change weather-wise coming our way, Ben Adam.
Yes, we do. We do still have a cold front slated to arrive around midday on Thursday, but don't expect the abrupt, immediate changes right away. It's going to be gradual. We'll hop into that in a moment. First, let's talk temperatures. 96 are high today. That's 10 degrees above average, but behind the pending cold front, we will be dipping below average. We've now had 118 consecutive days at or above 90 degrees. That's an all-time record by a long shot. More on the cold front, rain chances, and timing that out for you in just a bit.
Congressman Henry Cuellar returned to the Capitol today after being carjacked last night. This happened just a mile away from the Capitol Hill. In D.C., Cuellar told investigators that 3 masked men swarmed his vehicle and put guns in his face. His car was later found abandoned. No arrests have been made.
Tonight, San Antonio police investigating after a man was shot on the side of the road. Happened on Sahara Drive near San Pedro and 281. SAPD says the victim found by someone just driving by. He was taken to a nearby hospital in critical condition.
Representative Kevin McCarthy has been voted out as Speaker of the House. 8 Republicans voted to oust McCarthy as the resolution passed 216 to 210. The House will now have to vote on a new Speaker. No word on when that vote will take place.
Crews were out earlier today removing the letters in the AT&T Center sign, replacing them with the Frost Bank name. As far as the AT&T Parkway being renamed, the street signs will take longer to replace because the city has to approve the name change. That's your 60-second recap.
We've waited this long for some fall-like weather. We are going to wait just a little bit longer.
Patience.
We've all been hearing, Thursday. The changes aren't happening immediately on Thursday.
But they're happening still.
Yeah, we're going to.
Okay.
Yeah, we're still going to have
scaring me
changes
there a little bit. I just want to make sure.
It's just don't expect this to be one of those fronts that hits you right when it comes in. It slaps you in the face. No. This is a gradual change behind this front. It's going to arrive on Thursday, technically speaking, but the cooler and less humid air really won't be that noticeable until we get into Saturday and the weekend. Rain still looking likely on Thursday. We like our prospects. Take a look at the rain chances going forward. Tomorrow, 20%, so just a few isolated stray pop-up showers and non-severe storms possible, but generally dry. Thursday, 70%. Don't expect it to rain continuously all day Thursday. That's a pretty good chance, 70% widespread, but it's going to be intermittent in nature. And most of us should have at least a few moments throughout the day where we get some rain, potentially even heavy at times, with many rare area rain gauges likely to pick up around an inch of rain. We think that's definitely within the cards. The rain today, east and west of us, most of it near Houston, some heavy rainfall there close to Houston, and then some afternoon storms popping up in parts of West Texas. Still main driving force is this upper level low and the dip and trough in the upper level flow that'll be moving eastward. The cold front's developing to the north of us right now. It's slowly going to drop in on Thursday. In turn, with the future cast, you see along the front that precipitation gradually moving from north to south. It's not going to be equal opportunity. Not everybody's going to get an inch, but I think many area rain gauges are likely to see around an inch of rain. If you're lucky, you could see up to 2, but I think that's going to be the exception. By Thursday evening, south of town, and I think Friday morning, south of Highway 90, we could have a few brief showers, but that's mostly going to be down closer to the valley and out of our area. Friday, for the most part, I think will be dry. And by big game coverage on Friday, the humidity should start to really fall off. So if you're outdoors Friday evening or if you're at any of the games, that's when you may start to first notice those changes, and it'll be with the humidity. 94 now, dew point is 66, still humid out there. Feels like 97. 88 Bernie Stage, 89 in Comfort now. 95 Stinson on the south side, Hondo 91 along with Rio Medina. We're mostly in the 90s, some 80s, of course, in the hill country. Big picture, though, the wider view shows our cold front developing right now. Off to the north, some 60s, but immediately behind the front in North Dakota, South Dakota, even Nebraska, parts of Colorado, and you get into the Rockies, and we've got some 60s and even 50s and 40s, but we're not going to get that cool. We'll just have a noticeable drop by the weekend. Tomorrow, still mid-90s by the afternoon. 94 here in San Antonio, 95 Castroville, 94 in Converse, Pleasanton, Poteet, 95 the high. By Thursday, Friday, mid-80s, so still warm, relatively speaking, for a cold front, actually near average, but then we drop below average by the weekend with afternoon high temperatures likely to be in the mid to upper 70s for Saturday and Sunday with the lower humidity and some cooler mornings as well.
That'll be nice. Thanks, Adam.
The Buzz comes your way after the break. To the Buzz and some food for thought. At least that what has come to mind after NASA released new images of Pan, a moon that orbits Saturn. Now, NASA posted these photos on their Instagram page and asked people if the moon's unique shape resembled some common foods like ravioli or maybe an empanada.
I guess I could see it. The Cassini spacecraft captured photos of Saturday's innermost moon 6 years ago, and we are getting our first glimpse of the oddly shaped celestial body. Scientists say Pan has a prominent ridge along its equator, and that gives the moon its distinctive shape.
Now I'm hungry for Chef Boyardee.
It's dinner time, right? Okay, meet Scalar Swift, a Taylor Swift-inspired Halloween decoration in Allentown, Pennsylvania. So, what makes her recognizable? Well, first, the blonde hair. It's actually 3 wigs sewn together to help create the pop star's trademark bangs. And the dress is blue to go along with Swift's release of her newly re-recorded album, 1989, later this month.
Yeah, by the way, the records are color-coded. 1989 is the blue album. And as you can see, she's not cruising solo. The creator of Scalar Swift also made a companion skeleton right there, number 87, modeled after rumored boyfriend, Kansas City Chiefs tight end Travis Kelce. Very creative.
Rumored. We'll be right back.
Still warm next few days, 94 tomorrow. Then we should dip down into the mid-80s for Thursday and Friday. And by the way, Thursday, some off and on, some periods of rain and thunderstorms. Then this weekend, lower humidity, a taste of fall with highs in the 70s.
We will take a taste. Thanks for watching the news at 6.
See you on the Night Beat at 10.